Hello everyone, this is Rainer, this is Rainier Books. Guten Abend, good evening, good afton, buenas noches. This is Rainier Books speaking, and I am back home. I'm traveling. Traveling is over for a while. I was in London and made 5 vlogs that I hope some of you did see, that some of you did like. It was great to be back in London after 3 years. But now I'm back at home here in Stockholm, in Farsta, south of Stockholm, and I am back to talking about books. Today is Tuesday, which would be Tag Tuesday, but I will make a wrap up of the last week, the reading week, what I read and what I will read in the next coming days. So let's get started. I sort of change plans, and I do that quite often. Sometimes I have plans to have a long TBR. Now I had a lot of books from the Women's Prize, from the long list, those books that weren't chosen for the short list. And I thought I lost kind of interest in reading them because, I mean, so many of you out there, so many great booktubers are doing videos about the Women's Prize, about the International Booker Prize still, and about the other awards that are around. So I thought, let's get away a little bit from the awards. Let's read something that not everybody discusses, not everybody reads here on BookTube. And so last week I went to my shelves behind me. After I came back from London, I wanted to read something English, and I did. I read and finished Jonathan Coe's novel, Mr. Wilder and Me. I will do a single review about this book. This is about a woman, a Greek-English woman called, I think her name is Khalida, and she is living in London with her husband and her 2 daughters, and the 2 daughters are now grown up. They will leave the house. One of them is going to study go to Australia. The other one is going to study somewhere, and she's also pregnant. She doesn't know if she wants to keep the baby or not. And I narrator thinks back of the time when she was as young as her daughter, who's leaving for Australia. And when she was that young, she was leaving for the US, and she was making a great trip through the United States. From New York to Los Angeles, and in Los Angeles she met someone on the way to Los Angeles, another English girl, and this other English girl said, well, in Los Angeles we have to go to this dinner with a friend of my father and my mother. He has invited me, and you come with me and have dinner with this guy. I don't actually know who he is. It turns out that this guy is pretty famous, one of the most famous film directors in the history of film, I would say, is Mr. Billy Wilder. And the Greek-English narrator, who didn't have any connection to Billy Wilder, suddenly gets a connection to him. She's working with him and his partner in crime, Mr. Diamond, for finishing the second last film that Wilder actually did, Fedora. And we have here Billy Wilder as a literary figure. We also have, in a cameo, we have Al Pacino, we have Marta Keller and others. This is a great, great novel, a wonderful novel, not only a great summer read, but you can read it very well in the summer. It has a lot of summer feeling to it because it's playing in Greece, it's playing in Munich, it's playing in Los Angeles and in London and in Paris. And it's a great book. And why this is a great book, I will tell you in the single review. I think it is marvelous how light, how easy Jonathan Coe is able to create this story. And everybody who doesn't admire Billy Wilder for his movies like Double Indemnity with Barbara Stanwyck, like Witness of the Prosecution with Sir Charles Laughton and Marlene Dietrich, his movie Some Like It Hot with Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis and Marilyn Monroe, and The Apartment with Shirley MacLaine and Jack Lemmon. I grew up with these movies, they weren't made when I was young. I'm still younger than that, but they were on TV all the time when I was growing up. And I saw so many Billy Wilder movies, and it was so great to have him here as a character in this book, in this novel by Jonathan Coe, Mr. Wilder and Me. Highly recommendable read, not only for the summer, and a single review is about to come. But what will I read over the next couple of days or the next couple of weeks? I will make another trip pretty soon to another European country. I'm going to tell you first when I'm there. I'm going to make vlogish videos there as well. I'm also going to read literature from that country where I'm traveling to. I've ordered 2 books, actually from Germany, because it turned out that there's more translated from this language to German than to English. And the books that I wanted to have, they were in German. So they are hopefully on their way so that I can at least take one of them with me to the country, where I will make some videos for you in the future. But what am I reading now? I brought with me from London, England, as if you've seen my video when I visited Foyles on Charing Cross Road, close to the Tottenham Court Road station. I bought 6 books at Foyles, and one of them was Mieko Kawakami's current translated novel, All the Lovers in the Night. That is a book that I will pick up maybe tonight as well and read it through the next weeks. I was so fascinated by Haven that I'm very curious about this one. This is about the life of a freelance proofreader in her 30s, living alone, unable to form meaningful relationships. She has little contact with anyone else than Hijiri, someone she works with. When she sees her reflection, she's confronted with a tired and spiritless woman who has failed to take control of her own life. Sounds like a great novel, actually, by Mieko Kawakami. Sounds like a great Japanese piece of literature. Another book that I ordered and that I received like 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, no, before I went to London, so like 2 weeks ago, I would say, is a Canadian novel about a German topic. And that makes it very interesting to me. You know that I have a fable for Canada and for Canadian literature. And I'm also interested into politics, into history. And this novel is called Petra by Canadian writer Shaena. I don't know actually how to pronounce her first name. Shaena Lambert. Petra is also, like Billy Wilder's, like the Wilder book, Mr. Wilder and Me, it's also about a real figure, but a literary fiction novel as well. This is about Petra Kelly. Petra Kelly, who founded the German Green Party in the end of the 1970s as a part of the peace movement in Europe when we were in the middle of the Cold War, when Russia, the Soviet Union, deposited missiles, nuclear missiles on the side of the Warsaw Pact states, and when the United States wanted to put nuclear missiles in European countries and even in Germany. There was a big peace movement, and one of the people in the peace movement was Petra Kelly, who then became a partner with a lot older guy, actually, with a former general of the German Bundeswehr, the German army, Gerd Bastian. And they were very prominent figures in the Green Party until one day, I think in the early 1980s, they were found dead at home, and apparently Gerd Bastian had shot and killed Petra Kelly and killed himself after that. And it was, I think, always depicted and declared as a suicide, a common suicide of these two people, Petra Kelly and Gerd Bastian. And this novel brings maybe a different light, maybe an interesting light to that question. I'm very curious about reading Petra by Shaena Lambert. Then from my backlist, or from my shelves, from the shelves that have a lot of books that I haven't read yet, I have 2 books that I want to read now. One is a very thick one. It is, I used to call them bricks, and I give brick warnings, as you know, because you can use these books as bricks. This, I think, has it has 576 pages. This is The Avery by Dave Eggers, which was published in 2020. I read The Circle by Dave Eggers, which is like the first book, if you might say so, in a series. The Circle is about a big social media company that is saying to do good things, but has a lot of negative impact, of course, on the world. And the Avery is almost like a it could be a continuation of that. It plays in the same world. He proposes an uncanny world on the border between the impossible to imagine and the already in play. So this is kind of the same thing, but it's very interesting. I like The Circle a lot, so I'm very curious about reading The Avery by Dave Eggers. And since I've been to England, since I've always look at Elephant and Castle, how things are going in this development, in the gentrification at Elephant and Castle on Walworth Road and in Southwark and South London. I wanted to pick up another book that is on my backlist that I have here on my shelves that is actually playing out in an estate, which means social housing in the United Kingdom. So I chose to read a book by Luan Goldie, which is called Nightingale Point, which plays out in an estate. The inner lives of characters who inhabit a world so often overlooked. And this is a world that interests me a lot. And I visit these areas very often in London to not only see the bright side, to also see the other side of how things are in the big city. And this is apparently a book in 1996. It plays out in 1996, Nightingale Point, when events happen that change the lives of a lot of characters living on the estate forever and ever. So these are the 4 books that I have for me right now. I hope that you have interesting books to read. Please drop me a line what you are reading currently. If you have read any of the 4 books that are on my TBR for the next weeks, or if you have read Jonathan Coe, not only Mr. Wilder and Me, I have actually ordered now Middle England from the library, which was the novel before. Mr. Wilder and Me, Middle England is a novel about Brexit, as far as I understand, about Britain falling apart, and got also very, very good reviews in the UK and abroad. So this is my reading right now, and I hope to see you very soon on this channel. And if you are a returning subscriber, I thank you so much for returning. If you are new to the channel, I would strongly advise you to click on the button below to subscribe to the channel. You would help so much. And, well, all I have to do is to say thank you, and I hope to see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.